Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs facing more time behind bars. His release date pushed back to June of 2028 instead of May of that same year.
Jaguar isn't trying to sound cautious. She's challenging people to question her, insisting that what she's uncovered can't stay hidden any longer. She claims that the key to everything lies in a plain, easily overlooked document, an incident report from the late 90s in Detroit. At first glance, it appears to be just another routine case file. But according to her, when you examine the names listed and the type of evidence included, it becomes clearer why, in her view, some powerful individuals might prefer it to remain forgotten.
No, if that's even possible. Because if he was able to pull this off before he was a billionaire, look at what we got going on now. Derek replies, this is illegal. And Sean Combs, Kim Elworthy are all behind this, and you're going to just sit there and let this happen, Your Honor. And the judge says, gotta pay the bills somehow.
Jaguar alleges that the document actually identifies Sean Combs as the assault suspect and includes a rape kit linking someone's DNA to a male victim. She says she uploaded the files to protect the records while the rest of the world was distracted by what she calls a sham public trial, one designed to make it appear as if Diddy was finally being held accountable. To be clear for viewers, mainstream outlets have reported on Derek's civil lawsuit and the briefly granted $100 million default judgment against Combs, but they have not published or confirmed the specific forensic details Jaguar describes. The claim about DNA found in a male victim is entirely Jaguar's, and it's the allegation that has fueled so much online reaction. From there, her focus shifts from documents to the man who says he paid the price. Derek Lee Cardell Smith isn't an internet rumor. He's a real inmate who has spent decades behind bars. He's the one who filed the civil suit alleging that Combs harmed him in 1997 and that the world ignored it. According to Jaguar, the court transcript doesn't just capture a defendant protesting. It shows a man pleading with a judge to acknowledge what she claims everyone in that courtroom already knew.
What you to do is they want you to hammer me, and they want you to pressure me, and they want you to try to put me in the grinder and see if I'll fall apart. And guess what? Welcome it.
In the recording, Derek insists he isn't the kind of man the state is trying to portray. He says he defended a woman and himself, and that he's being pushed into lies the court allegedly knows aren't true. Then, according to Jaguar, the story takes an even more shocking turn. She claims the judge actually agreed with him, acknowledged he'd been framed, said the whole thing had been done with the court's approval, even naming prosecutor Kim Worthy, only to end it with, "Not today. Take him back." It sounds unbelievable, almost like something out of a movie script, but Jaguar maintains that this is exactly what the transcripts show. And as outrageous as that sounds, she says the injustice didn't end with that single hearing. It followed Derek every time he came close to release.
The incident report identifying Sean Combs as the assault suspect. Well, do you understand what that means?
Hey.
Do you understand what that means? What I'm holding right here in my hand in this device that I uploaded for protection of the records. See, while everybody was busy watching that sham of whatever that was supposed to be to make people think that that guy actually was finally handled up on in some way, shape, or form, God was busy making sure that these very real findings came to me. Do you see what I'm telling you?
No, definitely.
There's a great kick. And the diddler is the assailant. His DNA found inside a man.
Jaguar claims that every time Derek came up for parole, Kim Worthy could pull one of those old grievances and use it to keep him inside all over again. She connects this pattern to the civil case that eventually hit the headlines, the inmate who sued for $100 million and, at least briefly, actually won. For many people, that lawsuit blended into the endless stream of cases surrounding Diddy. But Jaguar points out it was the only one he technically lost, even if it was only by default. And that brings her to the bigger question. When people type justice for Diddy online, what does justice look like for Derek? The man she argues was buried so the star could shine? Jaguar doesn't just portray Derek as a victim, she paints him as someone with a massive, hidden financial stake in the truth finally coming out.
Derek Cordello Smith said, Your Honor, I want to say this much. My mother is going to have to hear me say lies. And then she's going to think that I'm this type of person that I'm not. I'm not this kind of man that you people are forcing me to be. I want it to be clear that you can say on the record that I am a man who defended a woman and myself, and that I am being framed for multiple crimes that I am innocent of, and you know it, and are still forcing me into this with your full knowledge. Are you man enough to say that on this court record, sir? And the judge's response is, I am more than man enough to say so. Everything you said, I adopt on the record as true. You are not a rapist. You have been framed. And it was all done on our approval, and most especially on the approval of Kim L. Worthy. Are you happy now? Derek responds, hopefully one day this will all come out. The judge says, not today. Take him back.
Jaguar claims that Derek was actually an early investor in Bad Boy and that keeping him in prison meant no one ever had to pay him. In her telling, he's owed 49% of everything the Combs empire has built over nearly 3 decades. That $100 million judgment, she says, wasn't just a number. It was the first crack in the wall, a hint that what's been happening in the shadows might finally be pushed into the light. Then she adds another twist. Those transcripts, according to her, were sealed in 1998, unsealed in 2007, and then left to sit in the clerk's office under different names, but the same case number, making them nearly impossible to find. She believes the people involved thought they were being clever. She thinks they just got careless. And if you're wondering where Diddy's high-powered legal team fits into all of this, Jaguar claims she has an answer for that, too, and it's far from flattering.
Replies, this is illegal, and Sean Combs, Kim L. Worthy are all behind this, and you're going to just sit there and let this happen, Your Honor. And the judge says, gotta pay the bills somehow. And the witness, Kim L. Worthy, says, amen to that.
Ain't no way. Ain't no way. Damn. So, Jack, when you see the words "justice for Diddy," what does justice look like to you?
I don't know if that's even possible. Because if he was able to pull this off before he was a billionaire, look at what we got going on now. See, this is bigger than anything that any of us can talk about.
Mm.
This is in Detroit. Who would ever think that the diddler had action where he could move things around like this in Detroit. And we're talking all the way back in the 90s. And every time this man has been about to come up for parole, Kim Worthy goes and gets one of those great kits that she's been holding on to and just throws it on him. And he's back, he's got to stay in jail. You don't remember right after Diddy was taken into custody, that story that came out about the inmate that sued him for $100 million and won on a default judgment? Y'all don't remember hearing about that right after he was arrested?
Yeah, it was so many lawsuits, but yes, that was one of them.
Yeah, but it was the only lawsuit where you had heard somebody had actually won against him.
Sean Diddy Combs was expected to quietly serve his sentence until a planned 2028 release, but his time behind bars is already spiraling into new controversy. Reports are surfacing about hidden alcohol, unauthorized three-way calls, and a prison system that may be growing weary of shielding him. Yet if Jaguar Wright's claims are true, the real story didn't begin at Fort Dix. It began decades earlier, involving a forgotten inmate, sealed transcripts, and an incident report that allegedly names Diddy as the assailant. According to Jaguar, the issue isn't that the courts went too far, as some fans insist, but rather how Diddy managed to escape accountability for so long while another man paid the price.
He was actually an investor in Bad Boy. And they've been keeping him monkeyed up in jail all of this time, so they ain't got to pay him.
Yes, hell, I want to know what justice for Derek looks like right now. Jeez. Hell.
He's entitled to 49% of whatever Combs Enterprise has amassed in the past 30 years. Almost 30 years. That's what he's entitled to. He already won a $100 million judgment. See, this is what was going on in the background while whatever that foolishness we just watched was happening. This was all going on in the background. It's starting to make you wonder if that trial happened to cover this up. Everything that they've done to ruin it so people would never believe a word that came out of his mouth. See, when you start here with these transcripts from 1998, which were sealed and then unsealed in 2007 and then sat there in the clerk's office and nobody knew about it because nobody knew to come and get it. Nobody knew where to get it. Different names on the same case number. They thought they were clever.
You can hear it in her tone. She's not questioning whether Diddy is innocent. She's questioning whether real justice is even possible. Especially when a judge can allegedly tell Derek, right there in open court, "You've been framed," and still send him back to a prison cell. And because she knows people will label her crazy, paranoid, or obsessed, she leans into it without hesitation.
They're talking to me about these weirdo lawyers, including Mark Agnifilo. You want to know what's funny? While Mark Agnifilo was sitting there making fun of baby oil and doing all of the stuff that he was doing in court and creating all of that nice guy hoopla, trying to get everyone to believe that Diddy is not such a terrible person and now he's a wonderful man and he deserves to go back to Madison Square Garden and he's going to be right there to cheer him on. Do you want to know where else he was? In Wayne County, negotiating with Derek Lee Cordello Smith.
Wow.
His victim.
Wow.
Why would he be in negotiations with him if he actually believed that everything that he said in that courtroom was true?
Sounds like a fixer.
Sounds like a fixer.
Jaguar claims that while Mark Agnifilo was appearing on TV and in court acting as if Diddy deserved to be back headlining at Madison Square Garden, he was also in Wayne County, quietly negotiating with Derek behind the scenes. The host calls it what it sounds like, not just legal work, but damage control. And Jaguar goes even further, alleging that it wasn't only the lawyers who showed up. She says Diddy came in person.
Diddy went to that jail to visit Derek his damn self in 2024.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Guess what name he was using to go to that jail to visit Derek so nobody would know it was him?
John Smith?
Brother Love.
Gosh.
What is clergy?
Damn. This is very wild. What made you?
Guess where he went? Just a couple of days before HSI raided all of his properties. What do I think about the powers that be? What you want me to think?
Oh, wait. What made you find this rabbit hole to go down, and how many more rabbit holes do you believe there are?
Oh. See. I live in the rabbit hole. I don't believe in what everybody else believes in. I'm telling you something right now. When you got court officials that's sitting in court, they so brazen that they're actually threatening people.
That's very brazen.
Do you see do you see how this is going to go?
According to Jaguar, Diddy visited Derek in 2024 under the name John Smith, accompanied by someone she calls Brother Love Energy, checking in as clergy, so no one would recognize him. She claims this happened just days before federal agents raided his properties. Then she explains why she's so invested in the story, because she lives, as she puts it, in the rabbit hole. She doesn't accept the mainstream version of events, and she argues that when court officials feel bold enough to openly threaten people in the courtroom, it shows a system that no longer bothers to hide. The bigger question she raises is this: if all of that is allegedly happening behind the scenes, what's playing out publicly at Fort Dix? On paper, the facility was supposed to give Diddy a chance to serve his time quietly, access to a specialized rehab program, an opportunity to demonstrate sobriety, and the possibility of reducing his sentence by months. Instead, the headlines suggest he's already in trouble for violating some of the strictest rules in the federal system.
Combs' representative, Judah Engelmeyer, telling me by phone earlier today, Tom, that yes, a three-way call was made between one of Combs' lawyers, who did bring in another person on that call with Combs while he has been at Fort Dix, but that there was nothing improper about it. But again, that is not something that you were supposed to do at all. So those lawyers should have known better. As for drinking, he doubled down and said that Combs was not drinking and that, in fact, he's been admitted into this very specialized rehab program that Fort Dix offers. Is actually going to potentially lower his sentence. Yeah. He could be released earlier because of that. So they're saying he's done nothing wrong and that any reports that he has been drinking is completely not true.
Sarah, after his trial, a lot of people said he got a legal victory. It looked like he was going to be on his way out in a couple of years. How far back does this set him now?
Well, we don't know yet, Tom, because you still have due process rights in prison, right? So there's going to be an incident report if he, in fact, was drinking or there's an allegation. Then he's going to go to hearing. And if he's found guilty of it, then there's going to be sanctions. The sanctions could be that he could essentially be thrown in the hole, the SHU, the special housing unit. He could lose his privileges and he could lose at least a minimum of 40 days of time credits, which is big. And I want to say this. Drinking in a BOP facility is as serious as committing murder in a BOP facility.
Is it really?
Yeah. As of 2020, the BOP changed the rules and reclassified drinking as one of the most severe charges in custody. So this is really serious if he actually did it.
The reporter explains that Diddy's own representative, Judah Engelmeyer, has acknowledged a three-way call took place, One of Diddy's attorneys added another person to the line while Diddy was at Fort Dix. In a BOP facility, that's a serious violation. Engelmayer insists Diddy hasn't been drinking and that he's enrolled in a specialized rehab program that could even reduce his sentence. But if the prison concludes he did drink or broke communication rules, there will be an incident report, a hearing, and consequences. Time in the SHU, lost privileges, and at least 40 days of good time credits wiped out. What's shocking, the reporter adds, is that drinking inside a federal facility is now treated almost like a major offense. If he really did it, it wouldn't be a minor slip, it would be a game changer. And it may not be the only thing counting against him. While the prison system investigates what happened inside Fort Dix, prosecutors and politicians are also watching Diddy's moves outside those walls, especially anything connected to paperwork and finances.
I mean, I don't know to what extent this is sort of this callous sort of thinking on his part, or he just is an addict.
And you were telling me today he's writing a book.
And he's writing a book, which could cause him more problems under the Son of Sam law in New York. If he's monetizing on his crime.
This is all absolutely terrible if true. I mean, Combs made such a big deal about wanting to go to Fort Dix. He's trying to get out sooner than the 50 months in prison, Tom. The idea that he would be violating rules left and right within 2 weeks of getting there is really unfathomable after, again, listening to him cry and sob in front of the judge just recently saying, I want to do good, I'm sober, and I want to be released to go home to my family. So again, and like you said, President Trump, he doesn't like drinkers, okay? He doesn't drink himself. His brother was an alcoholic. And so has very strong opinions about that. He's talked about it. And if Diddy's seeking a pardon from President Trump before the new year, this is not a
Commentators note that Diddy writing a book could trigger issues under New York's Son of Sam laws if he profits from his crimes. Yet it seems almost unthinkable that he would risk prison rules just 2 weeks into a 50-month sentence after tearfully pledging to get sober, return home, and rebuild his family. Some even reference Donald Trump avoiding alcohol due to his brother's struggles, highlighting how damaging any misstep, like secret drinking or improper calls, would look if Diddy hopes for a last-minute pardon. Once untouchable, he's now trapped in a system where one wrong move can extend his time, while old ghosts and new allegations swirl. Layered on top of this are 3 versions of Sean Combs. The diddler in Jaguar's world, shielded by judges, fixers, and hidden deals while Derek suffers in a cell to keep the empire afloat. The official record, a felon at Fort Dix under scrutiny, teetering on SHU violations and possibly risking another law with a book. And the one fans see, a mogul fighting to survive, return to his family, and salvage his legacy. Jaguar hears justice and imagines a judge declaring, "You have been framed. Not today. Take him back." Yet she also sees decades lost so another man could live like a king. Ultimately, the question may not be if Diddy gets justice, but whose justice we are actually witnessing, his or Derek's.